All right. Who is going to lose their job today or tomorrow or within the next 72 hours as the coaching carousel escalates? I want to preface this conversation by saying I do not take glory in the fact that I get to sit in my comfy big chair and tell you who's going to get fired. I don't take comfort in the fact that these people have families. They're real human beings. They probably listen they listen to podcasts and take in articles, and hell, they're not listening to this one, but I know they hear the noise. And I know the toll that must take on your mental health. But there are coaches, not just in this league, but across the entire country, they're going to learn in the next 72 hours their job is done. They don't have a job anymore. And a big part of that is that they didn't fulfill their position. These guys are making $10,000 a day. That's like the minimum right now, $10,000 a day to go lose football games, which I'm sure you'd be able to do as well. For me, if I sit in my fancy podcast chair and I go 6 months, a year, 2 years where I can't answer questions of why I'm not performing, of why my ratings are bad, or why I'm not doing shows, or why I keep losing, or why nobody's listening, if that's the case for me, then I get fired. If you stop making sales, you get fired. Now, do people talk about it publicly? No. But when you're in the limelight, when you make $10,000 a day, this is part of what you signed up for. You signed up to fulfill your contract and do your job. And guess what? If you do get fired, you're getting a big fat payday. You're going to be just fine. That side of this, I have no remorse in the conversation for. And I do believe time is up for at least 2 Big 12 head coaches. There is no way you can bring Dave Aranda back to Baylor. There is no way you can bring a coach who went 3-9 this season after 2 years removed from a Big 12 championship and Sugar Bowl with another guy's players that you didn't capitalize on. The big reason why for Aranda, by the way, is that he's already replaced an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator in his tenure. You can't fire the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator that you hired after you already fired your offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator just to rehire or hire another. Like, well, it's not my fault as the head coach. It's these assistants that the head coach hired because I fired the other ones. Can't do that. We've already been through the song and dance of, the assistants aren't working, we're going to make a change. That's not going to work like that. Dave Aranda, your time is up. I went to his press conference and he said, yeah, disappointed in the loss, but feel like we're very impressed with the effort and how our guys fought hard. It's like, oh, wow, you said that last week and the week before that. I also think a guy like Dana Holgorsen, how do you hold on? And I know Houston was going to struggle, and you keep hearing Holgorsen come to the podium and say, hey, this is kind of, you take your lumps your first year. There have been a couple times where he's been asked a question. It just feels like he's, hand up. I don't know. Like, Dana, how are you going to recruit? How are you going to fix NIL? How are you going to put butts in the seats? People aren't showing up. People don't care about Houston football right now. How are you going to fix it? And it seems like he's like, I don't know. And there have been more bright spots for Houston this year than Baylor. But at the same time, I don't think those bright spots are bright enough to overshadow the 4-8 campaign that Dana Holgorsen and company just put together. To me, if you go to coachinghotseat.com, which is where I go, I check it every 3 days from the start to the end of the season because I'm so fascinated with a guy like Bush Jones, who was number 1 on there, and it's now not even on the list at Arkansas State because he took him to a bowl game. I love to see the development of this list. Lincoln Riley's the current number 1, by the way. Love that. I know all the OU fans love that. Dave Aranda's in the top 5. Dana Holgorsen's at number 7. They're the only 2 Big 12 guys that are on the list. For Aranda, I'm in the press conference, and one of the first things that happens after Aranda gets off the podium is the athletic director, Mac Rhodes, who had been referenced multiple times in Dave Aranda's press conference, walks straight to the university president. They have a little conversation. She nods and goes, oh, yep, okay. Which to me was probably, hey, let's meet in the next couple of days. I don't think Dave Aranda is still the Baylor head coach in the next 72 hours. Now, I let go of the guy. Mac Rhodes and the Baylor administration, I don't know. I can't speak for them. I think there's still a 70% chance. 70% chance they retain him because the buyout's big. Schools like A&M are hunting, and it's a culture thing. They think that's the culture fit. You're gonna suffer. You're gonna take losses for your culture fit. For Houston and Dana Holgorsen, the question's going to become, who can we go get? Is there somebody out there that we feel confident in that we're not going to lose to Baylor, that we're not going to lose to A&M, that if Mississippi State's not filled up by Jeff Lebby or somebody else, could we pick up a candidate that is high quality, maybe he doesn't need the pedigree of a Jeff Traylor even. He could be a G.J. Kinney at Texas State. I think a guy like that goes to Houston and wins immediately. I think he wins immediately. It's just a matter of if the Cougars and their administration feel like they can land that character. If that's the case, if they can make a phone call and GJ Kinney says, yeah, sure, I'm in, bam. Dana Holgerson's done. The trajectory's not there. That's the big thing with this is where is the program headed? For Baylor, it's not in a good spot, and I don't see it getting any better. For Houston, it's not in a good spot, and I don't think I see it getting any better. In the next 72 hours, we're going to see Dana Holgerson and Dave Aranda fired. You at least should. I think you should. Again, I don't take any glory in saying that, but when you don't do your job, something has to give with these guys. And they haven't been doing their job at the level of a coach that can retain it in the Big 12. So where we sit right now, what a wild way to close it out. BYU, just win the ball game. Go to a bowl. Thank you for losing, so we didn't get a Red River rematch. That was very kind of you. For Oklahoma State, are you fraudulent? But you made it to this point. Don't crap the bet against Texas. For Texas, you're the best team in the Big 12. For Iowa State, going on the road, getting an impressive snowy win against Kansas State, spectacular. For Cincinnati, what are we going to do with you? For Kansas, you're still being overlooked because you lost some of the key games, but what an impressive conclusion of the season. And for TCU, who do we fire? It's got to be one of the coordinators has to go. Somebody has to go. At Oklahoma, you're going to look back and say, we did all that. Oh, Oklahoma, you're going to look back and say, we did all that for what? We did all that effort and all that winning this season, and what do we get from it? The Alamo Bowl? Yeah. Sounds like it might be that. Yikes. This has been, it always will be. Hey, we'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll do a little bit more. Yeah. What do you say? You can listen to the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that stuff too. I love you guys. Good to talk to you. First live recap. If you're listening live, thanks for being here. This has been, it always will be, Locked On. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. It's the Dose Grande.